Hey everybody, I'm Verna Mullen from Stampin Notes, and welcome to Monday Simply Stampin' in the Meadow. Tonight we're going to do a mystery stamping card, which will be fun. And I'm just going to wait a little bit for people to get on, and I will tell you a little bit about an event I'm holding if you live near Hornell or Kindest, New York in Western New York. Next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday, July 28th, 2022. It will be at the Kindest American Legion, and it is a card making event. Make 6 cards, 2 each of 3 different designs. It'll be a lot of fun. And if you are interested in that and you would like to come, email me at vernastamps@gmail.com. And let me see today is Monday, July 18th, 2022. And welcome to Monday Night Stamping. I have some cool new stamp sets to show you and use tonight. And so that'll be fun. Hi, Margaret. Thank you for commenting and sharing. If you comment and share, you will be put into a drawing for a goodie. And let's see. Margaret, you are the winner of last week's, and Margaret is going to win the In Color Opal rounds. Are really pretty. So she'll get these in the mail, the 2021-2023 In Color Opal rounds. There's pale papaya, fresh freesia, polished pink, evening evergreen, and soft succulent. They're really pretty. Hey, Mom, always good to have your mom on. Okay, so I am going to switch to the project view here. And I don't know, can you see this little card? We're doing mystery stamping, and I shouldn't show you that first, but you already saw it, so hopefully you didn't see too much of it. So we're going to start. I'm going to use a designer series paper that goes with this set that's in the spring catalog. Okay, Margaret, I'll send it with your cards. Ringed with Nature bundle, and the designer series paper is free during celebration, which is right now. It's free with a $50 order, and I'm going to show you some of that. And it has paper for every season. And what I'm using tonight, I love this plaid, is this plaid right here. Sorry about the glare with the plastic. And there's a fall. There's spring here. Actually, I guess this is summer. This is spring. And then fall with the acorns. And then there's some winter pieces here. I love this with the birds. That could be any season. And there's some poinsettias here. And then the back is really pretty too. There's trees and this beautiful, this could be water or it'd be good for winter. Here's another really pretty summery print. And we have these rings like that are in the Rings of Love stamp set. So I'm going to be using that embossing folder tonight, and I'll show you. And we're going to start with a piece of cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 11. And I'm just gonna fold it in half, or you can score it at 4 1/4. I'm gonna fold it in half and burnish that with my bone folder. Okay. And then our next layer is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm using that designer series paper that's free with a $50 purchase. The name of that paper is Rings of Love. All right. And you can get your designer series paper and go ahead and adhere that to your card base. And I'm using our Tombow glue. I've just put it in a different holder because I like the way it comes out in that thin little line. And you're going to center that on your card base. Got to go over a little bit here. And I've got sticky glue on my fingers, so I'm just going to wipe that off. All right, I'm going to back this one light back a little bit because I seem to have a lot of shadow. All right, let's move this over a little bit there. All right, so your next piece is a layer. It's 4.5 by 3.25, and it's supposed to be embossed. And I'm using Poppy Parade, and I will show you the embossing folder I'm going to use. It's part of this set. This is a tree ring dies, and then there's an embossing folder that goes with that. And it embosses and makes tree rings on whatever you're embossing. The really cool thing is, this is a hybrid embossing folder. If you set these dies in here while you're embossing, it will cut all these little rings. And I'll show you what they look like. So I've done a whole bunch of them here. They're all different sizes. And then also in that die set, these little circular oval die cuts will cut out a piece of cardstock so you can do a sentiment on there, and you can layer that on the piece of wood. So that's a really neat set. Great for men or Christmas, nature cards. Okay, so I want to emboss, I want some of these rings on this piece of cardstock. I'm just going to lay that in there like that. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, so excuse my plate, I've got to order new plates, but that is really, really warm. All right, so when you're using these folders, you always want to put the closed end in first. If you don't, you can bend it and break it, and I have done that before. Not good. We're going to put this plate on here and run it through. Sorry, the table is shaking. Okay. I'm going to take that out. If you hear any weird noises, snoring or grunting, it is my grand dog, Bo. We are watching him while my son and his family are on vacation, and he makes quite a few noises. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, how that's embossed there. Yeah, that's a great idea, Margaret. Margaret says it would be great for scrapbooking with pictures in the rings. Great idea. Okay, so this is going to be centered on here, and you can go ahead and center your piece on there. Very cool idea. Okay. I'm just going to hold that down a minute for the glue to grab that. Then the next piece that you have is 5.5 by 1.25 strip. And it could be whatever you would like it to be. I'm using Pool Party. And I'm gonna die cut this edge with the basic borders dies. One of them, let me grab them right here. Okay, so these, there's some really neat border edging that you can do with these. And I think I'll do this one. I used it earlier, but so I'm just gonna place it where I want it on my strip here, about like that. And I'm gonna put a piece of Post-it tape on it to hold it down in place so it doesn't wiggle out of place when I use the embossing machine. Put one there and one on this end. Okay, just like that. I'm going to run it through the machine again. I'm bringing in that really nasty plate. The bottom plate, I'm going to lay that on there, this on top, and run it through. Okay. You can probably hear the dog snore now. He's snoring. He's in my recliner. Okay, so there's our piece, and I'll save this for something else. Okay, and so we're going to bring our card back in. And I want a little bit of this red to show on the edge here. So I'm going to put it on there about like that. And go ahead and you can put your strip on. Please post what you make. I love to see what you guys make. And I want to get back to doing mystery stamping at least once a month. And this will go from the bottom here all the way up to the top edge, like that. I'm just going to hold that a minute. Okay, so we have a large circle, and I have die cut my circles using the layering circle dies that we have. I've got a black large outline, and then I've used a piece of the shimmer cardstock because I'm going to watercolor on this. This is National Watercoloring Month, and I'm using the Kindest Gnomes stamp set. Let me show you that. It comes with its own paper too that's really cool. But here's the dies for that set. So we've got hat and feet and beard, mushroom, grass. Really cool. And the mushrooms can be acorns also. And then this is the stamp set right here. And I'm going to use this guy right here. So when you do watercoloring, you want to use StazOn ink, which is black ink. And it literally stays on. It's even kind of hard to get off your stamps. So when you use it with your stamps, you want to, whoops, I forgot that thing was on there. When you use it with your stamps, you want to wipe them right off and clean them right after you're done. And this is because we're using water. We're watercoloring. And you can either use this shimmer paper, it's a heavier cardstock, or you can use the watercoloring paper that we have. All right, so there's our gnome. I'm going to wipe my stamp off. And I'm grabbing a paper towel. I'm going to fold this up right here and have on the side here. And this is one of our water painters. This is a medium size. They come in 3 sizes, a large, a small, and a medium. All right, and you just fill it by taking this comes off and you put water in this tube here. Then to get it going, you simply squeeze. And I'm just going to make sure mine is clean. And it looks like it's clean. And there's water coming down through there. Okay. So let's start with, I think I'll bring my phone down a little bit. You can see it maybe a little better. All right. So I'm going to use a block to put my ink on. You could well, I'll show you. There's several ways you can do your ink, and I want to use the poppy. And I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to wipe it on one side of the block like that. You could take your re-inker and drop it on. Drop a drop on there. I'm going to use Pool Party. I'm just going to go like that. It doesn't look like there's a lot there, so maybe I will use the re-inker for that. This is a re-inker right here. I'm just going to put a drop on my block like that. Okay, and then I'm going to start with Pale Papaya, and I'm going to do his nose in Pale Papaya. And instead of putting a drop of it on the block, I'm just going to squeeze my ink pad. And I've got that little dab of ink right there. All right, before I get started, I'm just going to do a wash over the whole stamped image. And you don't want to squeeze, once your water's going, you don't want a ton of water on there. You want to be careful that you're not squeezing it all the time. Okay, so I've got a wash of water on there. I'm going to go and get some Pale Papaya. I'm going to come and do his nose. And you can go back and you can get more if you want it a little darker. I don't want it real super dark. And then when you go to change colors, you just go like this till it's clear. There's a little color there and then it was clear. Okay, so I'm going to do his hat in Pool Party. I'm just getting a little, and I'm just kind of gently, and you'll see there will be darker and lighter areas. If you don't want it too dark when you first start, just dab off a little bit. And you just want to kind of gently stroke the brush on the paper. And that black stays on ink, keeps it from running. if you use it without putting a wash over your paper first, it will just be darker. The wash helps it spread out a little more and be a little more even. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, and then I'm gonna do something else, and then I'm gonna go back and um, do a little more shading on that. I'm gonna close the papaya up because I don't need that. Now I want a little dab of the Poppy Parade for his mouth here. Just a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to do Poppy Parade for his shirt. No, let's see. Let's do the mittens, Poppy Parade. If you want to do a no-line watercoloring, then what you would do is stamp first with a really light color. Stamp your image like with Sahara Sand. I've used that before. Like ink your image up with Sahara Sand and then stamp off so it's really light. But I think these are such small images that you need to see the strokes and the detail of the stamp. All right, I'm going to do his beard in crumb cake, and I'm going to put a dab of crumb cake here. Make sure my brush is clean. And first I'm going to start with just doing the lines because it'll be pretty dark. And then after I get a lot of that dark off there, I'm just going to kind of go over, fill in it more. So Stampin' in the Valley is Thursday the 28th at the Kindest American Legion. I'm really excited about that. It is $20 or free with a $20 purchase, and you make 6 cards, 2 each of 3 different designs. Celebration is going on right now. If you don't have a new mini catalog or a spring catalog, or sorry, summer into fall catalog, then let me know and I will get one to you. And you can email me at vernastamps@gmail.com. See how this is lighter and we see the darker strokes in there? It's really light now because I haven't re-inked it. I just want a tiny bit. You need a tiny bit more for up here, around his nose and mouth. Okay. So I think, well, we got a little over on this side we missed. Right there. All right. I'm going to go back in on his hat. And I want it a little darker right here. Right here. Right there. So basically the left side is darker than the right side. It's really cool how you can do that with a watercoloring. Gives it a nice effect. I'll hold it up here so you can see how this is darker. And go in a little bit right there. Right here. Okay. So now I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna use soft suede on his shoes. This is really dark. I'm gonna do the edges with the darkest and then go back and fill in. It's still really dark. I probably should have used like a crumb cake. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna grab navy. Changed my mind. I've got knit macra on. Oh, thanks, Mom. This is a cute set. We'll do his pockets darker. Then come back and do his pants. Okay, and I'm gonna leave his sleeves white. I'm gonna do just a little more dark shading here. Okay. So he is done. Set this aside. And now I'm going to stamp the sentiment, and I'm going to use Warm Wishes, which is from the gnome stamp set. And it's long, and I don't have room for it here, so I'm going to do two different rows of words. I'm going to grab my tape. All right. So I'm going to cover wishes while I stamp up the warm part. Cover that with a tape. And I need I'm using regular Memento black ink. We'll stamp up warm. And don't forget to take your tape off, which I sometimes do, and that's not a good thing. Right, so I think I'll do warm and wishes on the left on this one. Okay, so there's warm. All right, and now I'm gonna cover warm and stamp wishes. Take my tape off. Let's see here. Warm wishes. And we're going to adhere him to the black piece, which is right here. And center that. Warm wishes. And then we'll bring our card back in. I'm going to pop him up on that with dimensionals. Actually, I think I'm going to use a piece of foam. Oh. This is our foam adhesive, which is nice because it's big. Takes less time to put on than the dimensionals. All right, so warm, put that straight. I want him over a little more. Warm wishes, and let's add a couple dots there. And I'm using the classic matte dots. And I will use black. All right, so we've got our card. And the other one that I did that's similar, I just reversed the colors, but it's using the same. I reversed where I used the colors. So this one, I've got the red on the side and the pool parties embossed rather than the red. I think I like this one better, but they're both cute. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you post what you did. Oh, the Stampin' Scrub, it does, Chris. Let me grab it for you and I'll show you. So there's two cleaning products, two ways to clean your stamps. This is a Stampin' Scrub. This says has raindrops. This is where you put the spray, the cleaning spray. So you take your stamp and it's on a block and you just scrub it on there, and then this has a sunshine and you dry it off there and it cleans it. And then the other thing is these are like a sponge, and this one isn't wet right now, but you wet it and then with water it cleans your stamps. So these are really popular too. So those are the two main things you use to clean your stamps. Or you could use baby wipes, but these are nice. So okay, I hope you enjoyed that. And I will be back Wednesday. We'll be on this Wednesday. So take care and have a good evening.